are moments in life when everything feels still, when the world quiets down just enough for your soul to whisper, something is coming. These are not ordinary moments, these are divine signs. And when you begin to notice them, know this: God is already at work behind the scenes, preparing to shift your entire reality. When you see these signs, it is not coincidence, it is confirmation. You are standing at the doorway of transformation. Your life is about to change in a way you can't yet imagine. Let's open our hearts, quiet our minds, and tune in to the whispers of the divine. These are the signals that your breakthrough is near. You feel an inner urge to let go. It begins as a quiet whisper inside your soul. Something no longer feels aligned. What once brought you comfort now feels heavy. The people you used to chase, the habits you used to cling to, the dreams you once called your future, they no longer spark that fire within, and you can't quite explain it to anyone else. It's not that something terrible has happened. It's that something deep inside of you has shifted. At first, this feeling can be confusing. You may wonder, why do I no longer want what I've always wanted? Why am I pulling away from things I used to beg God to give me? But here's the truth. This is the gentle call of the divine. This is your higher self tapping you on the shoulder and saying, there is something greater for you. But first, you must let go. Letting go isn't weakness. It's not giving up. It's not failure. Letting go is a sacred act of trust. It's the moment you stop gripping so tightly onto what is familiar, even if it's painful, and you open your hands and your heart to the unknown. There are seasons in life where holding on does more harm than good. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The more you resist the urge to release, the more the pain grows. You see, what you resist persists. But when you surrender, when you say, I don't know what comes next, but I trust it will be better than this, you make room for miracles. Sometimes God will start removing people and things from your life, not to hurt you, but to heal you. He will stir your spirit and make it uncomfortable in situations where you once felt safe, because He knows those places are too small for the person you're becoming. He knows your future needs more space, more truth, more freedom. And so the nudge to let go comes, at first softly, then louder, until finally you can't ignore it anymore. You may find yourself cleaning out your room, your contact list, your old journals. You may crave solitude. You may start to see clearly how you were settling, how you were dimming your light, how you were staying where your soul could not grow. That realization is painful, but it is also powerful. You begin to understand that not everything you lose is a loss. Some things fall apart, so something far better can fall into place. Some relationships must end so you can come home to yourself. Some paths must close so new ones can open. This is not rejection, it is redirect. Letting go is also about trusting that life is always working for you, not against you. Even when it feels like you're being stripped bare, you are being prepared. The universe never takes without intending to replace, but it is up to you to create space. When your hands are full of what no longer serves you, how can you receive what does? You may cry, you may grieve. That's okay. You are allowed to mourn the version of yourself you are leaving behind. You are allowed to miss the familiar. But don't let your tears stop you from walking forward. Each tear waters the soil for the new version of you that is blossoming. Letting go is an act of faith. It is saying, I no longer need to control the outcome. I trust the timing. I trust the process. I trust that what is meant for me cannot pass me by. And with every step you take away from the old, you are stepping closer to the life you were born to live. You will find peace not because everything is perfect, but because you finally stopped forcing things to fit. You will feel lighter, not because you have less, but because you released what was weighing you down. And eventually, you will look back and realize that the thing you feared losing was never meant to stay. It was just a chapter, not your whole story. The inner urge to let go is not a mistake. It is a sacred invitation. Don't ignore it. Listen, trust it, lean into it. Your soul knows what it's doing. Letting go is the first step toward becoming the version of yourself who no longer has to beg for love, chase after peace, or prove their worth. You are not falling apart, you are falling into place. Let go, beloved. Something beautiful is already on its way to you. Doors begin to close without warning. One day everything seems to be moving forward, and the next something shifts. The opportunity you were counting on suddenly disappears. The relationship you tried so hard to hold together starts to unravel. A path you were walking with confidence now feels blocked, unclear, or simply gone. It's disorienting, it's painful, and it's confusing, especially when you thought that particular door was meant for you. But here's the deeper truth. When a door closes without warning, it's rarely random. It's often grace in disguise. Life has a way of intervening when we won't. Sometimes we're so focused on what we think we want that we can't see how small it actually is compared to what we're meant to have. And so, in divine timing, that door shuts. No explanation, no warning, just closed. In the moment, it's hard to see this as a blessing. We ask, why is this happening to me? We question ourselves, question God, question our worth. We wonder if we messed up or if we missed our chance. But sometimes the closed door isn't punishment, it's protection. It's not a loss, it's a course correction. It's a redirection towards something that your soul has been calling in, even if your mind can't see it yet. We often cling to what's comfortable. Even when it's no longer right for us, we hold on out of fear, out of habit, out of hope. But growth doesn't happen in comfort, and alignment doesn't always feel good at first. When something no longer fits your energy, your spirit will know. And when you don't walk away from it on your own, life will help you, sometimes gently, sometimes abruptly, but always with purpose. A door closing can feel like rejection, especially when it's something we prayed for, fought for, or dreamed about. But rejection is often redirection. What if that opportunity was going to limit you instead of expand you? What if that relationship was keeping you small? What if that path was never going to lead where you truly wanted to go? You see, we don't always know what's best for us in the moment, but there is something greater within you, your higher self, God, the universe, that sees the whole picture. When a door closes, it's a sacred invitation to pause and reflect, not to shame yourself or get stuck in what if, but to turn inward and ask, what is life trying to show me here? Maybe you outgrew that space. Maybe it was never really aligned, but you wanted it so badly you tried to force it. Maybe you're being asked to trust in ways you've never trusted before. And here's something beautiful. The closing of one door often sets into motion a series of events that leads you exactly where you were meant to be. But if you're too focused on the door that's shut, you might miss the one that's opening right behind you. You might overlook the quiet signs, the new ideas, the new people, the new opportunities trying to enter your life. It takes courage to let go of something you believed was part of your path. It takes faith to keep walking when the way forward looks uncertain. But uncertainty is not the enemy. It's the space where transformation begins. When you're no longer clinging to what was, you become available to what can be. Give yourself permission to grieve the door that closed. It mattered to you, it meant something, but don't get stuck staring at it hoping it will open again. Because what's behind that door may no longer be meant for the person you are becoming. There is a version of you emerging through this process, a version that trusts life, a version that knows that every closed door is an act of divine editing. Life is always shaping you, refining you, guiding you, not punishing you. Every time something leaves your life, something else is being aligned to enter. And very often the thing that's coming is far more fulfilling, far more aligned, and far more powerful than what you thought you lost. So breathe, be still, let the door close. If it was truly meant for you, it will return in a better form. And if it wasn't, thank it for what it taught you and keep walking. Life is not working against you, it's working through you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not off track. You are being prepared. You are being rerouted towards something that resonates with who you really are. Trust the closing doors. Trust the redirections. Trust the pauses and the shifts. Because every time a door shuts without warning, it's not the end. It's a beginning in disguise. You feel deeply tired, but you don't know why. It's not just your body that aches. It's something deeper, something you can't quite name. You sleep, but you don't feel rested. You take breaks, but you don't feel renewed. Even in moments of quiet, your soul feels heavy and the question lingers in the back of your mind. Why am I so tired when I haven't done anything extreme? This is not ordinary tiredness. This is soul-level exhaustion. And it often comes not from what you're doing, but from what you're carrying. You are holding emotions you haven't fully expressed, thoughts you haven't had the space to process, energy that doesn't even belong to you. You're trying to be strong for everyone. You're trying to make sense of things that never made sense. You're showing up even when you feel like disappearing. And over time, this wears on you, not just mentally, not just physically, but spiritually. Because energy is not just spent by action. It is spent by resistance. It is spent by pretending to be okay. It is spent by overthinking, overgiving, and overextending yourself while neglecting your own needs. And so even if life looks fine on the outside, inside you feel depleted. You may be tired from hiding how you really feel, from smiling when you want to cry, from saying yes when your soul is screaming no. You may be tired from living in a world that rewards constant doing, but rarely celebrates being. You may be tired from the weight of unhealed wounds, unspoken grief, or dreams you put on hold for the sake of others. Sometimes you're tired because you've been surviving instead of living. Running on autopilot, pushing through, meeting expectations, and your soul is whispering, enough. You can't keep going like this. This tiredness isn't asking for more caffeine. It's asking for truth. It's asking for rest at a deeper level. A rest that doesn't come from sleep, but from alignment, from coming back to yourself, from putting down the burdens that were never meant for you to carry. You don't need to earn your rest. You don't need to justify why you feel this way. Sometimes the body knows before the mind does. Sometimes the soul speaks through fatigue. It says, slow down, pause. Something within you needs your attention. The world may not understand this kind of exhaustion. It's not visible. You don't look sick. You don't look broken, but you feel it. And that's enough. That's valid. Just because it's invisible doesn't mean it isn't real. This is your moment to turn inward, to ask yourself gently, where am I out of alignment? What am I holding on to that I need to release? Whose energy am I carrying that isn't mine? These questions are not easy, but they're necessary. Because your tiredness is not your enemy. It's your guide. Maybe you need space to grieve something you never had time to mourn. Maybe you need to forgive yourself for staying too long in places that drained you. Maybe you need to reclaim your time, your joy, your voice. Whatever it is, trust that your soul is wise. It knows what you need, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. Be gentle with yourself in this season. Rest without guilt. Say no without explanation. Let go of the pressure to figure everything out. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is nothing at all. Not because you're lazy or giving up, but because rest is sacred. Silence is sacred. Stillness is a doorway to clarity. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to force yourself to feel better. All you need is to honor what you feel, to give yourself permission to rest. Not just your body, but your spirit. Because when you honor your exhaustion, you begin to hear what it's been trying to say. You begin to uncover the truth beneath the tiredness. You realize that maybe it wasn't just about lack of sleep. Maybe it was about lack of peace, lack of authenticity, lack of boundaries. And slowly you begin to make space. Space to breathe, space to feel, space to be. And in that space, healing begins. Not all at once, but gently, naturally. The way the sun rises after a long night. Not rushing, not loud, but steady, certain. One breath at a time, you return to yourself. And in that return, your energy comes back. Not the frantic energy of survival, but the peaceful energy of presence. The kind of energy that flows when you're aligned with your truth. So if you feel deeply tired, let that be a sign, not of weakness, but of awakening. Something within you is ready to shift. Let it. Rest. Reconnect. Release. And remember, you are not alone in this. You are deeply loved. You are supported, and you will feel light again. You begin to notice the signs. The same numbers keep appearing on clocks, license plates, receipts. A song plays that echoes exactly what you've been thinking. Someone calls you just as you were thinking about them. A stranger says something in passing that answers a question you've been silently holding. These are not coincidences. These are synchronicities. And when they begin to multiply, it means something powerful is happening in your life. At first, you might brush it off. You tell yourself it's a fluke, or maybe you're just noticing patterns that were always there. But over time, the signs become too specific, too meaningful, too frequent to ignore. It's as though the universe is trying to get your attention. It speaks in symbols, nudges, feelings, and alignments that are impossible to explain with logic alone. You are not imagining it. You are tuning in. Something within you is awakening. Your awareness is expanding beyond the physical world. You're beginning to see that life is not random. It's beautifully orchestrated. Everything has a reason. Every encounter, every delay, every detour, none of it is meaningless. When synchronicities multiply, it's a sign that you are aligning with your higher self. You are stepping into a flow where your thoughts, your intentions, and your energy are beginning to create visible effects in your outer world. You're moving beyond the surface and entering a deeper rhythm, a rhythm that says, you are being guided. These moments of alignment are sacred. They're confirmation that you are on the right path, even if it feels uncertain. They are reminders that you are connected to something greater than yourself, something wise, something loving, something that knows exactly where you need to go and how to get you there. Sometimes synchronicities show up when you are about to make a big decision. Sometimes they arrive during your lowest moments to remind you that you are not alone. Sometimes they show up quietly, like a whisper in your soul, affirming that the thoughts you've been thinking are right, that your healing is unfolding, and that your desires are on their way to becoming reality. This isn't magic in the fantasy sense, it's magic in the soul sense. It's how life communicates with us. when we're finally still enough to listen. It's the reflection of your inner state becoming visible in the outer world. And it always begins when you choose to live more consciously. When you start trusting your intuition, listening to your body, honoring your truth. The more you align with who you really are, the more the universe begins to mirror that back to you. You attract the right people, the right situations, the right opportunities, doors open that you didn't even know existed. What once felt like struggle begins to feel like flow. But here's the thing, synchronicities don't appear to impress you. They appear to awaken you. They are not there just to make you feel good for a moment. They are meant to move you forward, to spark your faith, to remind you of your power. They are the way Spirit says, keep going. You're getting closer. You're remembering who you are. Sometimes they are gentle, subtle. Other times they are loud, impossible to ignore. The more you acknowledge them, the more they come. The more you trust the path, the more it reveals itself. And the more you surrender control, the more you see how supported you really are. You don't need to chase these signs. You only need to become aware. When you live in alignment, the signs will chase you. You become a magnet for guidance, for truth, for divine timing. If you've been seeing these signs lately, if the synchronicities are showing up more and more, it means something is shifting in your life. You're not lost. You're being led. You're not behind. You're being prepared. You're not imagining things. You're being reminded. Your spirit is rising. Your energy is calling in experiences that match your frequency. That's why things may start falling into place effortlessly. That's why certain relationships return or dissolve. That's why old dreams are being reignited and new ones are emerging. Don't doubt the signs. Don't dismiss the nudges. They are the language of your soul's evolution. When synchronicities multiply, it means you are being pulled into your purpose. You are walking with more intention, more clarity, and more faith than ever before. Let this be your affirmation. I am divinely guided. I trust the signs that are unfolding before me. I am aligned with the flow of life, and I welcome the blessings that are making their way into my reality. Stay open, stay receptive. The universe is not just watching, it's participating. Every moment of alignment is a conversation between your soul and the divine. And when you begin to answer back with trust, with courage, with presence, you'll find yourself exactly where you're meant to be. You feel a sudden urge to declutter your life. Not just your closet or your drawer full of old receipts, but everything. Your space, your relationships, your thoughts, your routines. Something within you begins to whisper, let it go. And at first you don't fully understand it, but the feeling grows stronger, more insistent. It no longer feels like a chore, it feels like a calling. You look around and realize how much you've been holding on to. Items that no longer serve a purpose, commitments that drain your energy, conversations that go in circles, people who only show up when they need something. And even deeper than that, emotions you've buried, beliefs you never questioned, and patterns you're ready to outgrow. This urge to declutter is not random. It is your soul's way of creating space for something new. It is your spirit saying, we can't rise while carrying what was only meant to be temporary. There comes a time when the old can no longer walk with you into the new. And instead of forcing change, this energy arrives gently with an invitation. You You begin by clearing your physical space. Not because minimalism is trendy, but because your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And suddenly the clutter feels suffocating. The piles, the excess, the unused. It all begins to feel like emotional weight made visible. As you let go of objects, you begin to feel lighter, freer, more present. But it doesn't stop there. You begin to question everything. Why am I still holding on to this friendship that leaves me feeling small? Why do I keep doing this job that no longer lights me up? Why am I saying yes to things that don't align with my truth? This is a spiritual awakening disguised as spring cleaning. It is not just about tidying your shelves. It's about reclaiming your peace, reclaiming your time, reclaiming your energy from things that once served you, but have quietly expired. You begin to realize that the need to hold on has always come from fear. Fear of emptiness, fear of lack, fear of regret. But now you see that letting go is not loss, it's liberation. When you release what no longer serves you, you make room for what's meant for you. There's something deeply healing about clearing your life of noise, about saying, I don't need more, I need meaning. You're no longer willing to carry things out of obligation, guilt, or nostalgia. You're ready to let your life become lighter, simpler, clearer. You might notice resistance arise, old voices that say, but what if you need it again? Or what will people think? That's okay. That's the past trying to hold on. You don't need to fight it, just observe it. And remind yourself that you are safe to let go. You are safe to trust the flow of your own life. Decluttering is not just a physical act. It is a spiritual practice. It is an affirmation that you are no longer willing to fill your life with what does not reflect your highest self. It is an act of self-love, a quiet declaration. I am worthy of clarity. I am worthy of peace. And with each thing you release, be it an object, a habit, or a relationship, you come back to yourself. You remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You remember what truly matters. And you start choosing with intention rather than out of habit. You realize that your life doesn't need to be full to be fulfilling. It needs to be aligned. And when it is, even the simplest moments become sacred. A quiet room, a deep breath, a morning without chaos. These become the treasures that clutter once drowned out. Let yourself be renewed. Let your life breathe. You are not emptying it, you are making space. Space for peace, space for joy, space for the next chapter to enter with grace. Trust this urge. Trust that the impulse to declutter is the beginning of something beautiful. It's the universe preparing you for the shift you've been asking for, and it always starts here with a willingness to release. So as you let go, say thank you. Thank you to the things, the people, the patterns that once had a place in your life. And then bless them as you set them free. You are not walking away in lack. You are walking forward in faith. Because on the other side of letting go, there is always something better, something lighter, something more aligned with who you are becoming. All you have to do is trust the process and take one courageous step at a time. You feel an unexplainable peace wash over you. And for a moment, everything feels still. You're not sure why. Nothing in your outer world has changed. The bills are still on the table. The future is still uncertain. The noise of life hasn't quieted down. And yet something within you has. Something has shifted. And it doesn't come from answers or resolution. It comes from surrender. This peace is not loud. It doesn't announce itself with grand gestures. It arrives quietly, gently, like the soft hush of early morning light. It's the kind of peace that doesn't need to prove anything. It simply is. It lives in your breath, in your body, in the calm recognition that you don't have to carry it all alone anymore. You stop fighting the current. You stop clinging to how things should be. You stop measuring your worth by how productive you are or how much you've accomplished. And in this letting go, you feel a sacred stillness move in. You realize that peace was never something to be chased. It was always waiting for you to come home. This kind of peace doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you're no longer resisting what is. You're no longer forcing things to happen on your timeline. You're no longer exhausting yourself trying to control every outcome. You're starting to trust the divine rhythm of life, even when it's not predictable, even when it's not perfect. You begin to understand that peace isn't the absence of challenges. It's the presence of trust. It's a deep knowing that somehow, even in the uncertainty, you are supported, you are held, you are being guided, even when you can't see the whole path yet. In this space, fear begins to fade, not because life has become easier, but because you've become softer, gentler with yourself, kinder to your thoughts, more open to grace. You stop punishing yourself for not being further along. You stop criticizing yourself for the emotions you carry, and instead, you begin to honor your journey with compassion. You see that every experience, the highs and the lows, was leading you here, to this moment, to this awareness, to this sacred quiet within you. What once felt like chaos now feels like divine rearrangement. What once felt like loss now feels like release. What once felt like confusion now feels like redirection. You feel this peace because something deep within you is healing, not because of external validation, but because you've started to listen to your inner voice again. You've started to trust the whisper that says, you're okay even now, especially now. This peace allows you to be present in a way you never were before. You notice the small things again, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the way a breeze moves through the trees, the comfort of your own breath. Life hasn't become perfect, but you've become present. And in presence, everything changes. You no longer need all the answers. You no longer need everything to make sense. Because in your heart, you feel that it's all unfolding exactly as it should. You understand that peace is not a destination. It's a decision, a choice you make every day to return to the now, to trust the process, to soften your grip. Even in the midst of pain, this peace can exist because it's not a denial of life. It's a deeper acceptance of it. It's the strength to sit with discomfort and still believe in healing. It's the courage to face uncertainty and still choose faith. It's the wisdom to know that even when you don't understand the plan, there is a plan. And so you breathe. You exhale the weight of everything you can't control. You inhale the quiet strength that has always been within you. You remember that you are more than your past, more than your fears, more than the labels you've carried. You are a soul, eternal, resilient whole. You don't need to chase anything anymore, not approval, not perfection, not outcomes. You are allowed to just be, to rest, to trust, to live in the beautiful in-between, where magic often happens. So if you feel an unexplainable peace, don't question it, receive it. Let it anchor you. Let it remind you that you are on the right path, even if you can't yet see where it leads. Let it guide you back to the truth that everything you've been looking for outside of yourself has always lived quietly within. You are safe, you are supported, and you are exactly where you need to be. Let that be enough. Let that be peace.